Representative Spiegelman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate it. Those of you who have been in this room with me for some years know that in previous General Assemblies I have released bills around suspension of rules, including House Resolutions 6 and 7 from the previous two General Assemblies. These made it more difficult to suspend rules rather than having an arbitrary majority vote. And the reason we did that is because of situations like what are in front of us. In a statement made earlier by leadership, it was said that stakeholders were brought together in order to discuss bills such as the one that's in front of us. But the problem is, without a committee system, and that's the reason, of course, we are suspending rules, the stakeholders were brought together were only ones that were allowed by the majority party, by those in majority leadership, rather than a committee system which would allow open to anybody. So in other words, the people who are in charge of the agenda are also the people who took in the stakeholders to listen to their concerns. This could be why we have so many amendments to House Bill 241 and 242 coming up in a few minutes. This lack of public input silences the public. It silences the minority of public opinion, and it forces us into a situation to suspend rules, which also means that the Speaker herself cannot rule certain amendments out of order like she normally could on other legislation. This was unnecessary. It simply wasn't necessary to do this. We could have had committees. A lot of these issues could have been vetted out in our normal open government process. But to turn around and say, oh, well, we talked to the stakeholders and everybody's on board, to then have amendments such as these on important bills that affect the public, to then say, oh, well, this is an unprecedented situation, we have to do this. No, we did not have to do this. This suspension of rules is a slap in the face of the process, which has already been mentioned by Representative Urick, and it's a slap in the face to the people who will be affected by this, who didn't have the capacity to come to the General Assembly, to voice their concerns as they would if this was a normal process. I encourage my colleagues to vote no on the suspension of rules, not because I don't necessarily support helping the people, in particular in this case, I believe it's Newcastle County, but because we have a process for a reason. And Delaware's an open government state. In other words, we allow something that most other states don't. We allow the public, we invite the public, we encourage the public to come testify on bills that affect them. And that has been denied here because of a lack of a committee system, hence the need for a motion to suspend. Thank you.